there, it's me, Andy. Tea of the day today is cream soda. In my last video I said I have a soda problem, and it's true. It's horrible. Not really though. So, I know my pigtails are so uneven. I said I was gonna film 2 videos in one day last time. Didn't happen. But, like I said, free time, so. Today I'm going to be doing the first book in the Shadow Falls series, which is Born at Midnight. I'm still reading, the second book. I have read this series before. I did not own the whole series before. I actually had this copy, this exact copy that's 2-in-1, but I let a friend borrow it. Her dog apparently likes to eat books. So, yeah. It was pretty bad. But I also read it in middle school, so it was a while ago. I'm not going to say how long ago because I don't like middle school. But I read this when I was in, I think, 8th grade. And I liked it back then. And I think I appreciate it so much more now. I remember what happens, kind of. I remember big details. I don't really remember the small stuff. So that's part of the reason why I'm rereading it. But this series is so underappreciated. It's so bad. I went on Amino, which some of you might know what Amino is, some of you might not. But Amino, let me see if I can pull it up on my phone and maybe show you guys. My phone is disgusting right now. But, this is my Amino. It has a bunch of other stuff that I'm following. The Witches Circle, Pagans and Witches, like, stuff that I think I mentioned Amino in my New Year's kind of thing. Amino does not sponsor me because, as I said with thrift books, I'm irrelevant, but I use Amino all the time. But I actually started following, or like I joined a group that is Shadow Falls, and there's hardly any activity. I joined it 2 days ago, and although I love, sorry, I'm checking in. I love Amino. This is no activity, and I need more people to talk about this series with me. So if you, like, if you have read this series and you have Amino, please go join it. Right now, I think there are, like, 2 other people besides myself in it, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll probably check later. But I will be posting on there pretty much a lot to try to get the activity up, so there's more people to talk about this series with, because I've never met another person other than the girl I read the series with, who's read the series. Her name was Olivia. I went to school with her. And she and I both really loved the series, but at the time, we were in 8th grade. I don't even remember how old I was. And I'm not doing that math. Even though it really wasn't that long ago, because I just graduated, almost a year ago. So, it wasn't that long ago that I was in high school, and then by default in middle school, but I don't remember how old I was. Sorry. But we didn't really appreciate the series because we were just reading it because we liked it, and there was some stuff that we didn't really understand because we were not at that age yet that we could understand it. I'm not saying that I was immature when I read it, but I was a little too young to understand everything that was going on with it, especially with their relationship aspect, because at the time, I was kind of sorta trying to get back my ex, who I mentioned before in a video that I ended up taking down. And it was not Dylan. It was someone else, who I will not say his name on my channel. Maybe I'll do a little life update thing about that, because there have been new big things that happen in my life, essentially, that I kind of want to talk about. But right now, I'm here to talk about Born at Midnight. So, Born at Midnight, well, the whole Shadow Falls series is about a camp that is called Shadow Falls. I believe it's called Shadow Falls. Yeah, Shadow Falls. A camp for troubled teens, at least so her mother thinks. So, well, Kylie is the main girl in this book, and she goes to a camp that her mom thinks it's for troubled teens. Kylie's been in therapy, and her therapist recommended this. And this is all after one big, huge mistake that Kylie makes, that her mom makes the final decision to ship her off to this camp, which ends up being not a camp for troubled teens, but rather a camp for supernaturals. So there are vampires, there are werewolves, there are fairies, which Derek, who is a main person who Kylie likes in the series, he prefers to call it fae, because A, proper term, B, no guy wants to be called a fairy. And I think Kylie says that in the book. But, vampires, werewolves, fae, witches, shapeshifters. Like, there's just a slew of... Slew? Yeah, slew. Slew of supernatural beings, and they can all recognize each other by reading their brain patterns. And I love that aspect because I have never heard of that in a book series before, of being able to read brain patterns, and I love it so much. But here's the thing. Kylie doesn't know what she is. She has no clue what she is. All she knows is that she can see ghosts. And she sees this one ghost too. She doesn't know his name, but he's dressed in military. At first she doesn't think that's a ghost because he just kind of starts showing up. And Holiday, who is the camp leader and who turns throughout the whole series into a big sister for Kylie, which is amazing, and I love that female relationship there that's like just sisterly even though they're not related. Kylie really needs Holiday's help because Holiday can also see ghosts. Holiday is fae, so she has powers of calming if she's touching someone and can alter their emotions. And so does Derek. And Kylie really likes Derek, but Derek has that thing that can control her emotions, and it would freak me out because I know that in my craft, which I haven't really made a lot of videos about, which I promise I will start doing, love spells are a thing, and that terrifies me beyond belief, that using love spells to alter someone's emotions, it's not real, and that's what Kylie worries about, that it's not real. But the main big issue is the fact of her being someone who's a ghost whisperer, essentially. Her brain pattern isn't open for people to see. She's very closed off, and she can't see other people's brain patterns either. So that's part of the reason she didn't even know that she was a supernatural. And it kind of annoys people that they can't find out what she is. But I'm trying to remember, it's in the second book that something happens. But she... And the only way to really identify a supernatural is by their brain patterns. Like, a werewolf's brain pattern is different from a shapeshifter's. Even though they're both kind of shapeshifters, it's different, and the brain pattern only changes for a shapeshifter and werewolf when they're changing form. So, there is a big, huge thing of trying to figure out what Kylie is. And she goes through phases of, like, maybe I'm fae, maybe I'm a vampire, maybe I'm a werewolf. Like, there are so many things that change, and that kind of extends into the second book that I'm almost done with, which I'm probably going to do a review / talk about it a little bit in a different video after I finish it, which I'm almost done, but, you know, time management, not good at it. But Kylie, a main thing with her is the fact of having issues with her parents right now. Her parents are getting a divorce, and part of the reason her mom ships her off is because of it, because she thinks that there's nothing else that she can do for Kylie to help her. But, give me a sec, I'm thirsty. There we go. Much better. But, with going through the camp, Kylie's trying to learn so much about herself, but she never knew supernaturals existed, so to her, she's kind of in a camp of freaks, and she goes through this huge denial for a majority of the book that she's not supernatural, and no one can see her brain pattern, so no one can tell her differently. that she's not, but they keep telling her she is because she can do all these different things. She doesn't want to believe it. So a big part of the first book is Kylie accepting that she is supernatural and accepting that's part of like who she is, because she never really felt like she belonged, and even at the camp she doesn't feel like she belongs, because even though the camp promotes like witches and fae getting along and werewolves and vampires getting along, because historically they've never gotten along. It's kind of to encourage coexistence with the supernaturals, and even though that's what the camp's for, they still do have their little cliques. Like, the witches hang out with witches, fae hang out with fae, and so on. So, she still doesn't feel like she belongs because she doesn't know what she is. And I think a big part of already reading the series is I know what she is. Like, that, they find out by the end of the series. Sorry if that's a huge spoiler, but they find out what she is, and watching it now, I think I have notes on this. Maybe my next video that I'll make is about the notes that I take, because I definitely take notes while I'm reading. Also, when I read this series the first time, I did not cry in the first book, but there is this a huge moment between her and her mother near the end that I cried because I felt the emotion of it, and I think that's one of the reasons that I love it even more now, because, like I said, when I read it initially, I wasn't really mature enough to, or old enough to understand the things that were going on between her and her mother, and now that I've matured and I've pretty much experienced those things with my mother, like, I know what it feels like, and I feel that emotion of it. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Also, there is a boy that Kylie has known for a while, knew when she was younger, and his name is Lucas. Lucas is a hot-ass werewolf. Hot-ass werewolf. And she also meets her two roommates, which Della is a vampire. That's why I was thinking vampire for a second. And Miranda is a witch. So they feud all the time because teenage girls living together. It's a problem. But, I 100% love Lucas and Derek. So much more than I'm older. I loved them before, but now I love them 100 times more. And it's just so great. But I'll talk about this more in the second book, but Kylie has feelings for both Lucas and Derek. Lucas terrified her. She did not know when they were younger that he was a werewolf. There's no way that she could have known, and it's really kind of interesting because Lucas is like this big, bad werewolf who's kind of like treated like an alpha among the werewolf group, and it's kind of interesting to see that through the series he also has this really soft side that's really caring and really sweet. Dun, 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 dun. I already said about kind of like knowing. Oh, with already reading the series like, before, it's interesting to see from a different perspective of watching her. It's kind of like knowing the future of the story. Before, when I was going through it with her, it was a journey of trying to figure out what she is, and then there's huge ringers thrown at you of like what she actually is. And right now, looking at it from a different perspective, it's kind of like, before I felt like I was walking alongside her through the story. Now I feel like one of the ghosts that she helps, and I'm just kind of watching and following her, but already knowing. And that's a really cool perspective that I can now have from reading it previously. I totally give the series 5 out of 5 stars, and it's a really incredible thing. And I love it more than anything, and I wish it had more of a following. Like, it's been out since middle school and all the books were out, and, like, it was old enough that it could be made into a 2-in-1 when I was in middle school. But I do have the entire series when I went to Barnes & Noble with Michaela, because I had $75 to spend. I spent all $75 at Barnes & Noble because I got gift cards for Christmas. So I have the entire series. I don't have the novellas yet. I'm probably going to buy them. But there's also little in-between stories. So this was my Bored at Midnight. The next book is Awake at Dawn. And I think I only have like maybe 100 pages left. So I'm probably going to finish that in like the next hour, if I'm being totally honest. But I'm probably going to talk about the series as a whole. That will contain spoilers. Throwing that out there, talking about the series as a whole will contain spoilers, and I'm going to try not to have too many spoilers. I would suggest watching these in order while I make them. Seems like something that people should already do, but they don't. So watching these in order would make a lot more sense than jumping around, unless you've already read them, and then go for it. So that is pretty much it. That's all I have right now. Maybe my next video that I make soon will be how I take notes when I read. I had an old way and then it evolved. So yeah, there's that. Thanks so much for watching. Comment down below if you have read this series, please, for the love of everything that is breathing. Comment down below about this series if you've read it. Please, I need more people. And maybe I'll put a link to the Amino in the description so you can go follow that, because I really want more people to talk about this series with. Please, please give me that. Like if you actually want to read the series, because it's different than anything I've ever read before. And I love it more than anything. Subscribe if you want to see more of my face. Again, not wearing makeup like just before in the last video. I don't feel like putting makeup on. I've been using face masks a lot. Maybe I'll make up January favorites. That'll be good. Yeah. I'm trying to make more videos. I promise I'm trying to make more videos. Bear with me. Yeah. Sorry for the rambling. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next chapter. Bye!